When you're first starting out, Vigor can be a little overwhelming. Depending on what types of games you're used to playing, you might find yourself a little confused when trying to find out what's best to do and when. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a tips and tricks video for beginners on Vigor. It's safe to say some of these may be very obvious to those of you that have been playing the game for a while, but I still feel like they can serve as a decent reminder of what to do in certain situations. And who knows, maybe you'll learn something as well. So we'll start it off with the most obvious tip on this list in my opinion, but it also might be one of the most important. Number 1, practice at the shooting range. Whether it's your very first match or you've played hundreds so far, shooting the targets at your shooting range can help you get ready for combat in-game. This is such a great feature in this game, and mainly because there's no aim assist in Vigor, so practicing your shooting can help you survive and thrive when you enter an encounter. This is a feature that I wish every single game had, just a place you can go out, try new weapons, get warmed up, before going out and risking everything. It's also a great tool for improving your skills. Just about every time I queue up for a match, I run over to the shooting range and I start shooting targets until the server puts me in the map. That way I know I'm ready for anything. Number 2. Only take whatever you're okay with losing into an encounter. Last match you found that new shiny AR? Well, make sure you know what you're doing before you take it into the next match. I like to compare it to going to the casino. If you bring too much, you may end up losing more than you can afford. Taking your best items into an encounter does increase the tension in each match, but you have to decide if that's worth it for you. Usually I'm only taking a weapon that I can craft, unless I'm really confident, or if I just want to use that new weapon that I got and I want to press my luck. Vigor is filled with all of these tough decisions, and that's one of the reasons that I like it. A lot of the players go into a match only carrying a knife, or even no weapon at all. They try and find the loot that will allow them to defend themselves, and if you go into the match with nothing, you really have nothing to lose. However, some players go in fully decked out with some nice weapons, with some nice healing, just looking for kills. Some people might call my playstyle too passive, but hey, I play the game the way that I want to. Number 3, loot lots of cars. I feel like I find the most consistent loot when I'm running down a road with tons of vehicles. Buildings can take a long time to loot completely, and you may even loot an entire building and only find one dresser or cabinet with items in it. Cars are all over the roads, and each one can have something to loot. Make sure to keep an eye out for congested areas with lots of vehicles because you'll be able to fill up your inventory in no time. Not to mention they also are the best place to find some wires, and trust me, you'll need as many wires as you can get your hands on when you go to upgrade your shelter. Number 4, remember to collect the resources at your base. Once you've upgraded your shelter so that it starts generating materials for you, you'll have certain places around your shelter that you'll need to go to collect them. These fill up in real time, so if you don't play the game for about 8 hours or so, you should have a full set of generated materials and parts to collect around your shelter. If you don't collect them, those features of the shelter will no longer create materials for you. In order to make sure your base is helping you out the most that it possibly can, empty those out as regularly as possible. Extra parts and materials can only help you. Number 5, deconstruct resources or items that you don't need. If you're in need of materials to either upgrade your shelter or to craft an item, deconstruct resources that you don't need. But be careful though. You don't want to deconstruct everything. Say at level 1, 2, and 3, you don't need glass for upgrading your shelter. So you think, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this glass. That's perfectly fine, but once you get to your shelter to a higher level, different resources are needed in order to upgrade your base. You may need that glass that you got rid of. And now that you got rid of it, you're going to have to find that in your encounters and bring it back to your shelter. There's a give and take to everything, just make sure that you manage it well. Say you have a surplus of knives and lugers and you can craft them whenever you want and you don't really plan on using them, well you can deconstruct those and you'll gain materials back. Same thing goes with bandages or any of the healing items, you can deconstruct those as well. Number 6, don't go over the max material limit. If your shelter can hold 4,000 materials, make sure you don't fill up to 4,000 unless you're trying to upgrade your shelter. If you have 3,900 out of 4,000 materials and you deconstruct items that will give you 300 materials back, you'll only get 100 out of those 300 for your shelter. If you go over 4,000, you'll lose anything your base can't hold. Therefore, be careful constructing items you don't need. You may just end up wasting something and getting no benefit from it at all. If you find yourself coming close to the limit, craft some ammo, weapons, or healing to give yourself some space. And now you have more inventory to play around with. Number 7, deconstruct weapons to make a blueprint. So let's make up a scenario and say you have a few silver pigeons in your inventory, but you haven't made the blueprint for the gun yet. It's probably in your best interest to deconstruct 1 or 2 of those to try and get the weapon parts needed to craft the blueprint. Once you have all the parts of the weapon, you'll be able to craft the blueprint, and then you'll have the option to craft the silver pigeon as often as you want. Unless you're planning on using them, it's best to deconstruct them so that you can get that blueprint as soon as you possibly can. So if you really like to use the silver pigeon in this scenario, then definitely just keep it in your inventory and then use them. If you lose them, at least you have some more left. But for me, I haven't used it yet. I keep deconstructing them to see if I can get some parts and then create a blueprint. And once I have a blueprint, I feel much more free to go ahead and use that weapon. That way I'm not losing everything that I have if I end up dying in a match with that gun. I can always come back to my base after the match, craft another one, and then use it again. Number 8. Deconstruct weapon parts you don't need. Now this is related to tip number 7. You'll want to deconstruct extra weapon parts you have no use for, in order to salvage some parts from the weapon you deconstructed. You only need one of each part that's required to make a blueprint, so if you get unlucky and get 3 of the same weapon part, make sure to go over to that part and deconstruct the extra parts you won't be able to use. This will give you a little bit back as far as materials go and compensate you for your loss of that weapon. Number 9. Have your gun ready at all times. Every time you spawn into an encounter, your gun will automatically be set to shoulder fire when aiming and single fire mode. It's important to set yourself up and get ready for combat as soon as you can, just in case someone surprises you. Now me personally, I prefer to go in first person mode when I aim down my sights and having my gun set on auto. So the first thing I do when I spawn is I aim, and then I click the right thumbstick to go into first person mode, and then I press down on the D-pad to set my gun to auto. That way I'm not thrown off if I'm put in a combat situation by surprise. Number 10. Close doors. In its current state, doors don't make noise, so this tip isn't so that you'll hear someone coming into the building you're looting. It's more of a way to trick players into thinking nobody has been through that area before. The more you can remain hidden, the better your chance of surviving, and the better chance you'll have of getting the jump on your enemy. I try to close doors as much as possible to keep my opponents guessing. Number 11. Pay attention to the direction of the wind. If you pull up your map, you can easily see if the radiation will hit you first or if you'll have extra time to loot while in an encounter. The direction of the wind is important to take note of, just in case you want to stick around for a while before exiting the map. You can see the arrow icon in one of the corners of the map, and this will tell you what direction the radiation is going to come from. Number 12. Only shoot if you know you can secure the kill. When hidden, one surefire way to get shot at is to miss your shot. If you shoot at someone far away and don't kill them, they're instantly alerted and aware of your position. This will allow them to get into cover and possibly flank you. It also alerts everyone around the area of your position and puts you at risk of being surprised and shot in the back. Make sure you're only shooting at players you have a chance of killing, if you want to remain hidden, that is. If you want everyone to know where you are, fire away. Number 13. Be a vulture. And take no shame in it either. This game is all about survival. Letting a couple players fight it out and then swooping in to kill the victor is a smart move. You double your potential loot and minimize the risk. It's pretty frowned upon by some, but you're the one that's still alive, escaping with all the loot. With the way that I play, and as careful as I am, I find myself being the vulture if 2 players are shooting at each other. I try and get close enough so I can see where they are, and then I wait for them to finish fighting and take one out. So those were 13 tips and tricks for beginners on Vigor. There's obviously more tips and tricks that we can go over, and there's obviously more advanced tips and tricks, but I thought I'd start off with a beginner episode, that way anyone getting into the game isn't as confused and maybe is more comfortable now than they were before. For you guys that have already been playing for a few weeks, this list may not have helped you very much, but if you did stick around to the end, I potentially have something for you as well. Thanks to Bohemia, I have a couple more codes to give away to you guys, and I'm going to be doing one in this video today. So all that you have to do is type #giveaway in the comment section below. Anyone that does will automatically be entered to win the free code of Vigor Game Preview. If you already have the game, you can give it to a friend. You can have a contest of your own. Whatever you want to do with it is fine by me. That is now yours. I'll let this contest run until Sunday night, and then I'll pick the winner. But like I said, it will be one free code for someone that's lucky enough to win. All you have to do is type #giveaway in the comment section below. But yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did find it useful, or if you liked the video at all, definitely give it a like, and subscribe to stay up to date on everything Vigor for Xbox One. I'm really enjoying the game so far, and I just have a great feeling that this is going to have a good future, so I'm glad that you guys are enjoying as well. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.